Well, hello, everyone. My name is John Brenneman. I'm the president here at MOAA Vacations. Want to thank everyone for joining us for today's webinar. We are joined today by Gina with Collette Vacations, and I'm going to turn it over to Gina in just a second. Before we get started, I just had a couple of things to go over. For those of you who have not been on one of our webinars before, we are taping or recording. Taping. We are recording this today's webinar, and we'll send everybody a copy of it. So during the course of this presentation, if you hear anything that you want to revisit, just make a note. You'll have the video. One of the things we always mention is everything we do at MOAA Vacations, both individual travel, group travel, even our signature groups, which we'll touch on briefly, is open to MOAA members and all of their guests. So if you have any friends or family that you would like to join you on a Collette vacation or any other trip that you book through MOAA, please invite friends and family. We want your vacation to be the absolute most fun possible. And if your vacation would be more fun to have friends and family along, absolutely bring them. And then before, one last thing, I just did want to touch real quick on MOAA Vacations and the group departures. So Gina's going to talk today about some groups that we've set up for MOAA members. We have a ton of groups. So we actually have a groups page just for the Collette groups if you're interested. But one thing to keep in mind as we go through today's presentation, the groups that we're going to talk about have specific departure dates. So if you want to go on one of the groups that we highlight today, let's say Ireland perhaps, but that date doesn't work for you, Collette has multiple departures throughout the year. So if a few weeks or months prior or whatever would work better for you, absolutely just give us a call. And by the same token, time doesn't allow us to go through the hundreds of tours that Collette has available. So as we kind of go through this, if there is some place you want to go that we don't talk about today, let us know that as well. When we get to the very end, after Gina's presentation, Gina and I are going to do a Q&A. We'll answer all of your questions that you might have. But that final screen, if you don't already have it, it's going to have our email address and our telephone number. So feel free if we go through this and let's say you want to go to Australia, New Zealand, and we don't talk about it today, just give us a call or drop us an email, and we'd be more than happy to get you that information. I will be on the Q&A during Gina's presentation. So if you have questions, if something pops in your mind as Gina's talking, just drop it in the Q&A. If you take your cursor or your mouse or whatever to the bottom of your screen, it should pop up a little navigation bar at the bottom. And then you'll see there somewhere towards the middle where it says Q&A, and just click your questions in there. If it's a question I think everyone will benefit from, I'll indicate that in the Q&A, and then Gina and I can talk about that at the very end. But anyway, I know everyone logged in today not to hear me talk, but rather to hear Gina talk about Collette and our group departures to Scandinavia, Ireland, and Africa, the one I'm most excited about. But anyway, without any further ado, Gina, thank you once again for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us today, and take it away.
All right. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. I hope everybody is having a wonderful day. So for those of you who have not attended one of our webinars before, my name is Gina, and I've been in with Collette a little over a year, but I've been in the industry for about going on 7 years. I'm extremely passionate about travel and feel that I've been lucky enough to turn my passion into a career with a wonderful company at Collette that not only allows me to talk about travel all day, but also allows me to travel the world. The tour that I'm gonna one of the tours I'll be talking about today, Shades of Ireland, I will actually be leaving on Saturday to go to. So I will bring back all of the details to John, and if you guys have any questions on that, I'd love to share my experience when I return. So for those of you who have not traveled with us before, you may have attended our recent Ireland or Iceland trip, and I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you. I heard that it was absolutely wonderful and only got great feedback. And I'll talk a little bit about the loyalty that will apply on our tours going forward. But first, I want to tell you a little bit about what touring with Collette looks like. So when you travel on an escorted tour, you're going to have a value-packed and an experience-rich time. So when you visit a destination, we at Collette really believe that you should be immersed in the culture, also seeing the major sites while learning about all the history from our professional tour managers and often our expert local guides, while also having a 4-star experience and accommodations as well. So the convenience of having all of the logistics, transportation, accommodations taken care of for you really allows you to fully immerse yourself in the experience without having any worries. So we're going to make sure that we take care of your baggage for you. So if you see on the itinerary that we're moving from hotels, you can just be rest assured that all you have to move is yourself. You'll just set your bag right outside of your room and we will take it from there and it'll arrive at your next hotel for you. So you're not going to have to worry about bringing anything but yourself. And most importantly, we really try to focus on making sure that you have a relaxed tour pacing as well, with a perfect balance of free time, but also, making sure that everything is included for you. And not having to, as great as traveling with a group may be, sometimes you just want to step away and have dinner with your spouse or your partner that you're traveling with. And so we like to leave a couple nights open for dinner so that you can do so. And so what I like to think of it as is thoughtless travel, because you don't have to wake up in the morning and wonder how to start your day. Transportation, accommodations, and experiences are all going to be taken care of for you. So our product philosophy, we know that tours can sometimes fall into a predictable routine, and us at Collette are not fans of that. So when we say dinner, we mean local restaurants, home-hosted meals, cooking classes, and food tours. We really want to give you the full experience and really immerse you in that local culture as well. So you're not just having dinner at the hotels. But by hotels, accommodations, we don't just mean those just basic hotels. We mean villas, we mean castles, we mean really unique accommodations. And you'll get a great glimpse of that on both the tours that I'm going to tell you about today. So with that, many tour companies sell the must-sees of a destination as optional tours and may admit the cultural connections. But we want to make sure that we include the must-sees and the local experiences for you, not one or the other. So we just celebrated our 106th season of travel. So we as a company have truly perfected what guided touring is today and have a wonderful team on the ground in each destination that's going to curate the perfect itinerary, allowing you to get the most of the destination. So as I mentioned, the Passport Club. So this is our loyalty program that we've just done a revamp on because we really believe that travelers, should really have the benefit of loyalty each time they travel. That truly incentivizes repeat bookings and your loyalty with us. So basically, the more you travel, the more benefits that you're going to receive. And the bigger the trip, the bigger the rewards. So you will automatically be enrolled in this program as soon as you book with us. This is something, so you don't have to get signed up for it or anything. So if you attended if you attended the Iceland tour, you're automatically enrolled in that. So anything going forward, you will be valid for the rewards. And as well as you'll see there's the level 1 and the level 2. But also, when you travel with us 3 times, you earn an additional $100 towards an option or an upgrade. So we really want to just thank our travelers for their loyalty and make sure that you're getting the most of your experiences while you're on tour. So I do want to mention here, we do have a Black Friday sale that will be coming up very soon. This will be beginning on the 13th through the 28th. Now, I do want to mention here, this is not going to be valid for the 3 tours that we're going to talk about specifically. It is going to be because those are our group departures. This is going to be for any other tour that you may be interested in that is not part of the group departures. That you can get 20% off. But we do still have your MOAA benefits included in the group tour as well, as you guys are a top partner and, of course, leading expert in leisure travel. And we're really honored to play a part in that. So, you know, we want to make sure that you are getting a little bit of savings on our tours. And we do have, like John said, we've got 160 tours, all 7 continents. So anywhere in the corner of the world that you would like to visit, we've got a little bit of something for everyone. So with our private sedan service, I like to look at this as kind of just a little cherry on top as we talk about, you know, we really stress the no worries and trying to make it a seamless experience for you. So this peace of mind really allows you to relax and enjoy the lead up to your tour with 0 worries. So for when you purchase your airfare with us, we take the hassle out of getting to and from the airport. We will pick you up from your home and take you to the airport so you don't have to worry about parking or what time to get there. We're going to take care of all that for you so your vacation starts right at your door, as well as taking you back at the end. So just a nice little cherry on top that makes it more of a seamless experience for you. Okay, so now that I'm going to start talking about the tours, I want you to be able to fully focus on the beautiful pictures and itineraries. So I'm going to stop my video here and we'll turn it back on when we get the Q&A started again at the very end to open up for questions. So on our last webinar, we had discussed the first tour, Spectacular Scandinavia. So we had discussed that one in detail, and that one is on the YouTube channel for MOAA if you'd like to go learn full details about this trip. So I'm just going to do a quick little overview of this one. So with this Spectacular Scandinavia being 14 days, offering you 20 meals, is really just getting to see the Nordic countries at its finest, as well as the perfect time to go in June when the temperatures are going to be, you know, 52 to 68 degrees. Really getting to see all of the cities as well as a lot of world-class restaurants, back to basics cabin living, while experiencing some of the most epic natural landscapes in the world. So just a quick view of the itinerary here. So we start this journey in Denmark with an overnight flight before we head over to Sweden. And then we finish off our journey in Norway and also having the optional extension to end in Iceland. So you'd really get to be seeing all of the Scandinavian countries if you did the extension. So this is really a nicely paced tour, giving you a little bit of everything. Now, a few highlights on this tour. It's a really, really great tour showing you the 3 countries of Sweden, Denmark, and Norway. We explore the capital cities, including the colorful cities of Copenhagen and Stockholm, and of course the vibrant Oslo. Copenhagen is home to 15 Michelin star restaurants. So if you're a foodie, this is a really great one for you. And a lot of these places are up and coming foodie destinations. So on top of being able to see all the beautiful nature and the fjords and getting to see the spectacular scenery of the region and the mountains of Norway, and then we end the tour in the historic harbor of Bergen. So a few highlights here. We visit a traditional local farm where you get to stay at a manor house where we will provide you with a local expert to hear stories about Sweden's history. And those are just those kind of local experiences that we like to include that, are kind of hard to get on your own, if you will. We've had relationships with these families at the local farm for many, many years. So it's, just a nice way to really get to see the local culture. And then when we are in Stockholm, we offer a choice on tour of 2 museums. Now, choice on tour means no extra cost out of your pocket to do one or the other. But on this tour, we have one that you can visit the Vasa Ship Museum or visit the ABBA Museum and learn all about the music and the history there. And my favorite part of the tour is that you actually get to take the Flam Railway through the scenery of West Norway, which is voted as one of the best rail journeys in the world. And it is absolutely spectacular. And then also a cruise on the Geranger Fjord. So great itinerary. If this is something you're interested in and want to learn more about it, please go back and watch the webinar that was hosted last month and on YouTube. So you can go visit it there and give MOAA a call if you're interested in getting signed up for that one. So this one does also include your $100 MOAA discount and starting price at $54.99. And you can give us a call for airfare. We can't post the airfare here because, as you all know, we've got everybody here from all over the country. So we like to just list the land-only price, and you can call MOAA Vacations, and they will make sure to get you the pricing for airfare if that's something you are interested in. So without further ado, I am going to tell you all about this wonderful, wonderful Shades of Ireland trip. This is going to be hosted September 25th through October 4th of 2024 and is truly a spectacular tour. So as I mentioned, I leave for this tour on Saturday. And the reason I get to go on this one is because I sell it so much because I'm so passionate about it. I think it's a wonderful itinerary. It is our #1 selling tour out of all 170. So rest assured that this is a truly, truly great tour to experience. So just a quick look at tour at a glance here. I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but I just kind of want you to understand how to read the map here. So we're going to be starting in history-filled Dublin, where we'll do 2 nights there. And then whenever you see the gray circles on the map, those are going to be your day trips. So we will make one stop in Waterford for 1 night. So that's going to be our only 1-night stay other than the last night before we head to 2 nights in beautiful scenic Killarney. And then we're going to make our way over to the countryside for 2 nights in Limerick, ending our journey in Kingsport, where we have a very exciting stay for you. Now, I also want to make sure to set the correct expectation on activity level. So we measure our activity levels on 1 to 4, 4 being the most active, 1 being the most leisure. This is going to be perfectly balanced at a level 2. So for a level 2, that means you feel confident walking at least 30 to 45 minutes at a time over a variety of terrains. As you know, in Europe, they've got those cobblestone streets to easy pathways, maybe a couple hills or a few flights of stairs here and there. and just being able to be comfortable walking a few city blocks at a time, as well as some needed time to unwind. Now, if you have some more specific questions about activity level, please feel free to reach out to MOAA Vacations, and we can provide you more details on that if you have specific questions regarding that. So arriving in Dublin, the first night after your overnight flight, we're going to let you get settled into the hotel. You'll have the afternoon, whether if you want to go in, get some rest. If you didn't get to sleep on the plane, get rid of that jet lag. But we're not going to officially gather as a group until the evening, where we're going to toast and start off the trip on a good note before we really start our touring and sightseeing the next day. So this first night's going to be very fun, very traditional Irish night of dancing. So lots of singing and dancing. The Irish are just very happy, very energetic group of people. So we often find our groups after a couple of Guinnesses, they'll get up and join the dancing as well. So really, really great way to kick off the tour. So next morning, we're going to wake up and we will have breakfast that morning. And then we're going to give you the choice of how you want to see Dublin, either by coach or by walking tour. So like I said earlier, with choice on tour, this means no extra cost out of your pocket to do one or the other. We just know everybody's different, want to give, people the option on how they'd like to see the city. So if you'd like to join in on the coach tour, you'll ride with a local guide where they're going to take you to see the famous St. Patrick's Cathedral, over to O'Connell Street, also seeing the famous General Post Office and the historic Phoenix Park. So that's going to be more of a panoramic tour, if you will. Or if you'd like to join in on the walking tour, they're going to take you right into one of the city's historic centers, where you're going to explore the iconic streets of St. Stephen's Green, Grafton Street, and many others, where you're going to get to see these rows of these beautiful, spectacular Georgian townhomes, and of course being introduced to all of the different bars in the area, because Dublin only has about 800 different bars and pubs throughout, so it's really always a fun experience. So then we're going to give you a little bit of time in the afternoon to kind of spend the afternoon how you would like to and kind of make it your own. Go off on your own and make the trip exactly what you want it to be. So perhaps you'll go grab a pint with some locals in a pub or relax in one of the many town squares. Like I said, the Irish are so welcome and friendly here. And it's just such an easy destination for us Americans to visit. It's English-speaking country throughout, even though with that thick Irish accent, it may not sound like English all the time, but trust me, they are speaking English. So it's a really great destination for Americans to visit and really get a feel of their local culture here. So if you don't mind getting up a little bit of that leisure time that afternoon, we do have an optional tour for you if you'd like to join in, going to the Guinness Storehouse, which is followed by dinner at a contemporary restaurant, which is going to showcase some Irish cuisine. So in my opinion, this is an option I think that is an absolute must for a first-time visitor to Ireland if you haven't been. Even if you're not a big beer drinker, just the history behind the storehouse and being a staple of the Irish culture, there's so much history behind it. And it's really just an added experience, learning about the brewing process, the history, and then at the end, you get to go, there's a bar at the top, which has fantastic 360-degree views of the entire city, and is known as one of the best lookout points that Dublin has to offer. So we'll get up there after you learn about how it's brewed and get a sample of some of the finished product. So next morning we're gonna have breakfast, and now we're gonna leave the big city of Dublin behind, and we're gonna start to get into the countryside and see some of the areas outside of that big city feel. So you're gonna start to see the rolling hills and all of the beauty that the Emerald Isle has to offer. Or we're gonna step back in time as you begin your day in Kilkenny, right on the River Nore. This medieval town dates all the way back to the 12th century, where you're really just going to get that countryside feel after, experiencing the biggest city that we will see the whole time, which was Dublin. So then we're going to head over to Waterford, which is Ireland's oldest city here. So while we're here, we're going to embark on a leisurely paced walking tour. And so Waterford was the medieval wine capital in Ireland and was the head of the curve in relation to, surprisingly, coffee culture as well. So lots of history here where your tour guide is going to take you to discover the city's rich Viking, Norman, and Cromwellian history. Then we are going to, once again, choice on tours. So we have two options here, either going to see the Waterford Crystal Factory, where you can learn how the exquisite crystal has been made for centuries, which include those high-end goblets, tumblers, vases, and bowls, and other accessories. This is one that I'm going to be visiting because my mother actually collected these growing up, so I think this will be a great Christmas present for her to bring home, as this is something she collected. So just a unique experience. Or we also have the option to visit the Medieval Museum, where we'll take you on a guided tour, and then you'll actually get to have a glass of wine in the 15th century Mayor's Wine Vault at the very bottom. So both are really, really great options here. And then at the beginning, when I mentioned accommodation, I mentioned castles. So we've got a number of different castles in store for the group on this tour. One of the most famous, most iconic, of course, is the Blarney Castle, which was built back in the 1200s and has years and years of history, being restored in the 15th century, but really has kept that original 12th century architecture intact. And the grounds are just as beautiful as the castle. So lots to explore here, well as giving you one of the most iconic things to do in addition to touring the grounds. We'll be able to make your way up to the shop where, if you'd like, you do have the chance to hang upside down and kiss the famous Blarney Stone. So the Blarney Stone, there's many myths and legends behind it. It's said that if you kiss the Blarney Stone, legend says that those who do are bestowed with the gift of eloquence, or the gift of gap. So that's for my talkers in the room. So there's many different stories here of how the rock got its mystical powers, but I want to save those for when you're actually there, experience it. But really cool experience and iconic thing to do while you're in Ireland. Next, we're going to start to see why Killarney is known as being one of the most naturally beautiful areas in all of Ireland, as we're going to take a traditional jaunting car ride right through Killarney National Park. So then we're going to board a traditional boat where we're going to sail through the breathtaking lakes in the company of an expert boatman to see the famous Ireland's first national park, where you're going to enjoy picturesque views of the steep mountains and all of the rolling hills that surround the lake, while also keeping an eye out for those red deer and other wildlife that are present here in the park. Then we're going to be introduced that evening to the food scene at one of the city's best local restaurants. So, whenever you see a dinner included, a meal included in our itinerary. That is no extra cost out of your pocket. This is included, but this is also going to be diner's choice this evening because we want to make sure that everybody gets their own taste of because there's so much great food here. So we'll give you'll get to choose the perfect spot from a menu of all of the great restaurants here. Next morning, we'll wake up and we'll have breakfast, and then we're going to travel along the glorious Ring of Kerry, where you're going to find some of Ireland's most magical scenery. The Ring of Kerry is over 100 miles long, circular route in County Kerry, located in the southwestern part of Ireland, and most scenic route along the peninsula and coastline. You're going to have the chance to just sit back, relax, and see these rocky shores, the high mountains, the beautiful Atlantic Ocean crashing up against these bluffs, as well as hundreds of different birds that they call these cliffs home. So this is the day that you definitely are not going to mind being on the bus, when you can just sit back and relax and enjoy all the natural beauty with some interesting tips and history from your tour manager. So then our tour is going to take us through the Gap of Dunmow. So why do we stop here in the Gap of Dunmow? One, I like to say, is for our shoppers in the room. This is the best place that you can find traditional Irish goods, a lot of them being handcrafted by local artisans in the area, and is, of course, a place that's naturally beautiful as well. It's got a narrow mountain passageway that was formed more than 25,000 years ago, and that's where you'll be able to do some shopping here and learn some history and see the 5 different gorgeous lakes located all throughout the Gap. This evening, like I said, we want to give you that balance. So we're going to give you the night free for reminiscing about the day, find your own authentic taste of Irish culture this evening. Maybe, just doing some people watching, visiting some of the local bars, do some shopping. And like I said, you've got your tour manager with you every step of the way. They stay at all of your hotels with you. So they're there to provide you with countless suggestions as well. Next morning after breakfast, we're going to get to what I say the number one thing that people have on their bucket list when they visit Ireland. This one's I'm very excited for this one. They say one of the many things you want to see in Ireland is just these breathtaking cliffs. These 700-foot cliffs give you just unbelievable, jaw-dropping views of the Atlantic, the Aran Islands, and of course the cliffs themselves are over 350 million years old and stretch for about 5 miles along the coastline. So it's really, really just a bucket list opportunity. And we're going to take you up to one of the areas where you're going to just be able to get some of those iconic pictures.
Hello, everyone. My name is.
And just really take your breath away. The beauty, the backdrop, everything the cliffs have to offer. Then we're going to continue to Limerick, where we're going to enjoy a panoramic city tour here, where we're going to delve into the fascinating history of the city of the violated treaty, where the tour is going to showcase King John's castle and, of course, the famous treaty stone as well. So we'll make a stop to see the famous treaty stone, which has been believed to have been signed on the treaty stone back in 1691 when the city was surrounded to the army of William of Orange. And Limerick failed to follow the terms of the treaty, thus earning its name City of the Violated treaty. So we're never on the bus for more than an hour and a half, 2 hours at a time, but we always like to make stops along the way just to see some of these beautiful lookout points. So for my photographers in the room, we really, if there's something, your tour manager, we've got the time, we really will try to make a stop at some of the most iconic places where you can see the landscape. And right here we stop at the Burren, which is known for its stark beauty and Neolithic tombs, and really just get to see all of the lush greenery and beauty it has to offer right up against the Atlantic Ocean. Later, we are going to get to see the border collies in action during a traditional sheepdog demonstration, where we once again visit a local farm. And one of my favorite parts about travel, and hopefully you'll agree with me, is really having to immerse yourself in that local culture, getting to meet the locals, hear their stories, their culture, and their traditions. So we've got a really good cultural immersion opportunity arranged for you folks during this tour, where we visit the MOAA Dairy Farm. This is a family-owned dairy farm, and we've been working with this family for years and years. They're really such amazing people that welcome us basically into their home with open arms. They show you all throughout the farm, tell you what their day-to-day life is like, what it's like to be a traditional dairy farmer in Ireland. And like I said, very open and welcoming. So folks have coffee, scones, and have a chance to sit down with the family after the tour, enjoy some nice refreshments, and just get to hear the stories of your daily life. Then we continue on to Galway, where a brief tour is going to showcase the city of tribes before we return to Limerick and have a relaxing dinner at a local restaurant. So far we've talked a little bit about wine, natural beauty, some history, some architecture, but we're missing one thing that Ireland is very, very well known for, and that is Irish whiskey. So we are going to bring you to the Kilbeggan Distillery right in the heart of Ireland, where you're going to get to see the whiskey craftsmanship brought to life and give you a taste of the final product as well. So I mentioned in the beginning, kind of briefly, that we do have a very unique stay the last night. So this is going to be your final stay here. When we arrive in Kingsport, we get to stay at the Cobber Castle. This iconic castle has history dating back back to the 1700s, and the grounds are just absolutely amazing, stretching over about 100 acres. In Kingsport, there's really no better way to wrap up the trip on a good note. So you'll get to see, of course, the inside, which has been renovated, but it's really kept that old and medieval feel and theme throughout. And the individual rooms are just beautiful, and the castle itself is just beautiful at night when it's lit up. So you'll have plenty of time to do some exploring of the castle grounds. And then that evening, we will have our farewell dinner. So it will be our last dinner together as a group. So great way to wrap up the trip here. So your journey does come to an end in Kingsport, probably falling in love with Ireland because, again, it's just such a great country. The people are fantastic. There's so much history, so much culture, natural beauty, and just a little bit of something for everybody. Now, we also do have a couple options for you here. If you would like to come in a little bit early, and we do have what we call a hosted extension, which which means we'll have a local representative meeting up with you, taking you through the sites. We'll include all your accommodations, transfers, and such, but you'll have a bit more free time and you won't have a tour manager with you every step of the way. So great leisurely way to start off if you've never been to London and kind of want to get a feel for that since you've already made that long flight over. So great way to kick off the trip. And we also have another option to extend your journey after the trip to Edinburgh, which is also going to be a hosted experience. 3 nights, 4 meals will be included, as well as all of your accommodation. Just a great mix of independent exploration and guided sightseeing experiences. So for this tour, the specific dates that we have for this group departure, September 25th through October 4th, 2024. We're looking at a starting price of $3,049 per person. Land price, please call MOAA Vacations if you'd like details on airfare. Just let us know your gateway and we can get that arranged for you, as well as any extensions. If you'd like to do the London or Edinburgh extension, we can get you the pricing on that as well. And like I said, very, very, very great tour. And if these dates do not work for you, we have multiple departures throughout the year that you can join. So the next tour I am going to tell you about is our African Safari. We have a few different African Safari tours, and this one is going to be my favorite. It's 15 days, providing you with 38 meals with choice on tour, October 26th through November 9th. And this is going to be one of our small groups. So for the Ireland, that's going to be a classic tour, which means you could have up to 44 people with you on tour. So for our small group explorations like this one, this means that you're going to have a max of 24 people with you. So it's going to be a bit more of a intimate experience, really allowing you to dive deep in that local culture. So while we're here, we get to embark on 12 lively safaris to seek out the elusive Big Five, which are Africa's bucket list of animals, from the picturesque savannah in Kenya to the renowned Serengeti in Tanzania. This is the wild Africa of your dreams. So just a quick glance here, we have a overnight flight into Nairobi where we stay for 2 nights, and then we move on. And as you'll see, we do not have any one-night stays on this, which is really, really nice. So it allows you to really dive deep into each place that you're visiting here. And really get a feel. And we're going to go on multiple game drives. So the overall activity level of this one is going to be a level 3. So this means that you're on the go traveler. You don't want to miss a thing. Walking and standing for longer periods of time, maybe 2 to 3 hours, isn't going to be an issue for you. So very moderately paced 2.5-hour walking tour. Of course, we will have breaks in between, but we are covering several miles, hills, and uneven grounds. So we want to make sure that this is going to be doable for you, as well as we climb into various modes of transportation, as you'll see throughout here. So you can expect some longer days with earlier mornings or late nights balanced with some free time to recharge and set out on your own. But this, for a level 3, this level is not going to be a fit for travelers who require mobility assistant devices, just because, you know, we're doing a lot of movement and a lot of walking, lots of modes of transportation. So we don't want to send somebody on tour and they not be able to get the full experience of what they're paying for. So that's like that's why we like to tell you exactly what to expect. Now, if you have more questions on that activity level, please reach out to MOAA Vacations and we can get you more detailed on what the day-to-day looks like. So after your overnight flight, your journey begins in Nairobi, which is the capital and largest city of the country of Kenya, and one of the most prominent cities in all of Africa. So we'll visit the first full day of touring will be the next day, because we want to give you some time to get settled in after that longer flights and such. But next morning we're going to have breakfast, and then we'll head to visit the David Sheldrick Wildlife Trust, which is a foundation that rehabilitates young or injured elephants. So you'll get to see these gentle giants up close as they are fed and bathed by their caretakers. This foundation really takes great strides to support anti-poaching and to really educate the people about the animal welfare topics here. Then we're going to visit the house of Karen Blixen, which is the author of Out of Africa book that goes through her life living at this home, which was purchased back in 1917 and served as a center for her farm, which spread over 4,500 acres. So this is where we are going to get to have lunch this afternoon. Then one of my favorite parts is having the Rothschild giraffe eating right out of your hands here as we visit a giraffe sanctuary, where you're going to get up close and personal, meeting these fantastic creatures while feeding them from a platform that stretches as far into the sky as they do. So the specifically the Rothschild giraffes are an endangered subspecies of the giraffe. And there's only an estimated of 1,600 currently in the wild. So in comparison to other giraffes, the coloring of these giraffes is so much creamier, and they nearly all white lower legs and can grow up to almost 20 feet tall.
Oh, Lord.
Then we visit the Kazuri Beads Factory, where this is a place where mothers are employed and trained as jewelry artisans. And the name Kazuri in Swahili is word for small and beautiful. So this is where over 300 women are employed, and all of the jewelry here is handmade and painted. So very unique experience, great place to buy some souvenirs. Then that evening, we are going to toast to the start of a African adventure as we have a savory welcome dinner here this evening, and talk about all the exciting things ahead for the next week. So next morning, we're going to wake up and we'll have breakfast before we make our way to the Amboseli National Park, which is nestled right along the border of Tanzania and looks out on the great Mount Kilimanjaro, which stands over 19,000 feet high and, of course, tallest mountain in Africa, known for its large herds of roaming elephants, and just so much wildlife and beauty here. Then we'll have lunch, and then followed by lunch, we're going to get a glimpse into Kenyan culture and interact with the locals here at a Maasai village. So this village is referred to as an Inkang in Maasai language. Covering the population covers an area of about 60 square miles and made up of around 1 million people. So this is really, really a great way to just getting to know the locals here and see how they live their day-to-day life. So then we will give you a chance to get settled in for your accommodation for the next 2 nights at the Kilma Safari Camp. So as I told you, we've got some really, really unique accommodations for you here, staying right in the camp. Really, really neat experience. Where you'll have a deluxe tinted camp, and comfort amenities of a proper lodge. They've got a spa where you can look out into the world of nature here and really get a feel of all of the beauty and nature here. So I kind of like to look at it as more of not staying at a camp, but glamping, if you will. Next morning, we are going to embrace your wild side on a full day of game drives in the Amboseli National Park, where you'll see one of the best places in Africa to see all of the elephants in the wild up close. And of course, the first chance to seek out Africa's elusive Big Five, which is the bucket list of safari animals, which includes lions, leopards, rhinos, elephants, and water buffaloes. So these are the vehicles that you will be using for your game drives. They are 10 passenger 4x4s, but we will only utilize the 3 back rows with 2 passengers per row. And that also has a pop-off roof for easy game viewing and of course photography. So we just like to give you an idea of what you're going to be riding around in to get a feel for everything. Then we have an opportunity to enjoy a picnic lunch here, right in the open plains, where you'll be able to watch for herds of wildebeest and grazing zebras. Next morning, we are going to have breakfast before we enter into Tanzania, which is a country devoted to the harmony among its people and animals. We'll start with an impact moment where you're going to visit Shanga, which is a local jewelry workshop that trains and employs citizens with disabilities. The jewelry created at this social enterprise is sold all over the world. In addition to the jewelry, the Shangara trained artisans are also trained on glass blowing, weaving, sewing, painting, and more. So once again, another great place to grab some souvenirs from these local made artisans and supporting the locals here. And your day is going to end in Karatu, which is a humble town located on the precipice of the untamed nature here, where we're going to stay overnight in a charming lodge where you will get to see all the colorful gardens, meet welcoming hospitality here. Next morning, once again, we really want to let you have all the opportunities to see the animals. So we are going to head out and spot local wildlife with a full day of game drives here in the Ngorongoro crater, which is considered a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is the largest intact caldera in the world. Where you'll get to see a range of diverse animals encompassing various ecosystems. Due to its impressive concentration of wildlife, the region's diversity makes the crater one of the 7 natural wonders of Africa. Also containing one of the densest mammal populations in the world, this African Eden is one of the best places to seek out the Big Five. So you're just going to get to see the sheer magnitude of this area just wash over you as you enjoy, once again, a picnic lunch here in the highlands, taking in that flourishing habitat. Your path is going to continue to the renowned Serengeti, which is a Maasai word meaning endless plains, covering over 12,000 square miles. So lots of things to see here. So here, the Serengeti hosts a national park by its same name, which covers nearly half the region. Within this protected area, animals and ecosystems are free to function as nature intended without human interruption. The area welcomes a wide variety of animals here, and you can find more than 500 species of birds, more than 300 species of mammals, while also getting to enjoy lunch and venture out on your own for Serengeti adventure on an afternoon game drive before we return back to the camp. So this will be your exclusive safari abode this evening for the next 3 nights. Once again, not just camping, it's glamping. All of the accommodations here are going to be great, comfortable beds, and great way to, just stay in the park. I think it's a really cool thing that we do that you get to stay in the park and take in all the wildlife around you, even after the touring stuff. So this is called the Thorn Tree Camp and includes all of the deluxe amenities of a lodge, but allows you to really remain immersed in the nature here. Next morning, we're going to say good morning to the Serengeti Park that you are waking up to these beautiful views. Hopefully waking up and seeing the sunrise here because it's just absolutely phenomenal. So we are, after breakfast, we're going to take the grasslands where we head out for an early morning game drive and hopefully get to see some more animals that maybe you haven't seen yet or maybe see for a second or third time. And then we will return to the camp before enjoying a full day of animal seeking safari adventures and, of course, once again, a picturesque picnic lunch here in the park. So a few things that you may spot while you're here from lions, gazelles, cheetahs, hippos. It's really no telling what you might spot on your morning or afternoon game drive. So be sure to grab your camera and get ready for some unparalleled nature shots, as this is going to be the best opportunity so far to really get a glimpse of the animals you may have not had the opportunity to see yet. So under the careful guidance of an expert, you'll get to discover Savannah's wild residents and get a glimpse of the untamed animal kingdom here. Next morning, we are going to have breakfast before you're on your way to Lake Isai, which is an unexpected splash of blue amidst the plains and the mountains. This is a made salt lake in the highlands of Tanzania and is really full of natural wonders. You may even spot some flamingos here or hippos pulling off in the water. But the area is also inhabited by indigenous people and home to many historic archaeological sites. So many things to see here as well. We'll pause for a picnic lunch along the way, providing more chance to view some of these local wildlife. Then we arrive at your hotel that evening in Lake Isai. So while you're here, right on the grounds, we'll give you some free time so you can meander around the area and really try to spot some more animals and really take in the sunset here and just getting to see all of the beautiful nature that surrounds. Next morning, we are going to have another local experience where we're going to get to see how the native communities live in harmony with the environment here. So we'll start your morning with the Hadzabe tribe, which are hunter and gatherers that strive to leave no lasting impact on their surroundings. And they're actually the only tribe that is allowed to hunt in the Serengeti. So this is really, really a neat experience to, we've seen daily life of different tribes and such, but this is a really, really, really unique tribe to get to see how they live their daily life. Then we'll head back so you can enjoy some lunch at your lodge. before we visit the Datoga tribe, which is another community based right here in Lake Asai, where you'll see their vast farms and how they contribute day-to-day life. They're really somewhat nomadic, changing locations throughout the year to seek out the best grazing areas for the cattle here. Then we want to give you next morning to decide how you'd like to spend the morning, whether you'd like to chat with a local fruit vendor in one of the villages, where you can learn how to cut fruit into decorative shapes or get a chance to also taste these delicious fruits during the demonstration. Or you can choose to spend time with a local craftsman who's going to show you the current projects at the African Galleria, where you might also have the chance to try some carving on your own. Then we head to Tarangire, which is the forested national park known for its giant trees here. The national park is located in the Manyara region of Tanzania and is known as the 6th largest national park in the country, and is also most known for the elephant migration, its birdings, and its quiet and authentic safari atmosphere. So this is a really great place to see these gentle giants and really get to experience it through this park that covers over 1,100 miles. After lunch, we want to embark on another thrilling game drive where don't be surprised if you get to see a pride of lions here, which are going to be just lounging in the shade. Also seeing a herd of buffaloes wading into the water, or even a parade of elephants. Next morning, we get to enjoy a full day, once again, of game drives where we venture out in the morning and afternoon on your quest for animal sightings with a break for a picnic lunch in between. Now here, we've kind of seen a lot of wildlife so far, but here you want to make sure to look to the skies because the birds here, it's just an aviary paradise, home to over 500 bird species, where you can get to see many various starlings, red-billed hornbills, and guinea fowl as well. Then this evening, we are going to gather for a farewell dinner with your fellow travelers and the friends that you've made, hopefully sharing some pictures of all the wildlife and everything that you've gotten to see. So next morning, we're gonna return to Arusha on the final day of your African adventure, where you'll settle into a day room to relax before lunch, before we depart home with memories of endless plains and unparalleled wildlife. And this is truly, truly a once in a lifetime experience. So if this is something that you haven't done, and you know, like I said, we've got many different safari tours, but this one really gives you the chance to see a little bit of everything. And there is not going to, you're not going to go home and without seeing animals that you haven't seen before. So really, really, really. So we also have the opportunity, if you'd like to let your adventure continue, for an optional 4-night free tour to the Masai Mara. And this is also, like I said, on the other extensions that we talked about, those were going to be hosted experiences. This one will be fully guided. So that means that you get all of the great inclusions of a full tour, meaning daily breakfast, some lunches and dinners, sightseeing, local experiences are all going to be included, led by a tour manager or your local expert. Overnight accommodations, transfers to and from the airport are also going to be included, and just a great way to fully experience a new destination before or after your tour. For this specific departure for October 26th through November 9th, 2024, we're looking at $65.49 per person at the double occupancy rate. We can, of course, accommodate the airfare for you as well. Just give us a call and let us know your gateway at MOAA Vacations. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, these tours that we talked about on these specific group departures on these specific dates are not included in the standard Black Friday offer we have. But this is for any other of our tours, including these if you want to go on a different date that is not with a group departure. So with our Black Friday offer for the 13th through the 28th, this is going to be 20% off on tours worldwide. We also have 2 bonus combinable offers with this, where you can get a $150 gift card per person on tours that travel to Switzerland that are booked during Black Friday for travel during June through August of 24. As well as a buy one, get one free pre-tour extension on our Pacific Northwest domestic tour, and California, which can be booked during the 1st of January through the end of April of 25. So you've got a lot longer on that one as well. Feel free to give us a call if you have any specific questions and want to know more about the details of the Black Friday sale or any of these tours. And I will also put in the chat as well the details on the booking number to reference when you call in to MOAA Vacations to join in on any of these tours.
Excellent job, Gina. Sorry, I was just sending someone a link to the African safari so they could see the day by day. So that's in there. Had a few items that people wanted to go over. If you have any questions, now would be a great time to drop them in the Q&A. I know we're running a little late. I just had one thing real quick I wanted to touch on. We will in 2025 have a MOAA signature group to Australia and New Zealand. So be on the lookout for that information. Hopefully we'll have that out in a week or two. It is in May of 2025, and it is 16-night Australia, New Zealand tour. As we do with all the signature groups, we have it is a custom tour. So we've made a few changes to the itinerary that we know will make it a more enjoyable experience. The one we're most excited about is most people have seen the Sydney Opera House. Our tour is actually going to have dinner and then see a performance there at the Sydney Opera House. And I've been to Australia before, but I've never seen a performance at the Sydney Opera House. So we're pretty excited that we were able to put that together with Collette. Okay, quickly to get some of the questions. We did have a question about shots, malaria shots specifically. Are they required for this trip, Gina?
So there are some for when you enter Nairobi. There are some. I can't tell you the specifics of the ones that are required. But I can, when you call in, we can definitely get you that information on what is. We'll make sure that you're prepared on any requirements, such as visa requirements, vaccine requirements for any parts of the tour. I'm not positive if that one's either optional or suggested, because some of them on our African safaris, we have some that are suggested and some we have that are mandatory. So yeah, if you are interested, just check, give MOAA Vacations a call and we will find out.
Gotcha. Someone did say that they missed Scandinavia. They got late, so they missed the Spectacular Scandinavia. So I did send them a link to that, so they can actually watch that previous webinar. 31st minute of that webinar is when we talked about that. We had a question about single occupancy rates. I mentioned that there is a single rate, not necessarily a single supplement, which is a percentage increase, which is what most of the cruise lines do, but there is a double rate and a single rate. The single rate is a bit higher, and that's all going to be based upon the hotels. When you go to a hotel and you want a single room versus a double room, so it is slightly more expensive for a single room. There are single rates on all three of the tours you talked about today, right?
Yeah. There are the prices that were listed are the double occupancy rate. But once again, if you I can send that over to you, John, and have you send those out.
We have it. It's
okay.
if you go to the, I know that for all of the tours we have websites or web pages set up, and that will show a single and a double rate, and if triple is a possibility, it'll list it there as well. I just knew that you'd look up, you would know rather than me looking up each one individually. One person asked if you could recap the all of the game drives offered on this tour. I don't know if that's something you can easily do. I sent them a link to this tour where it will go through day by day and show everything that's included. So that should I don't think you don't have just a list, correct?
I don't have a list, but let me see here.
It's included in the day-to-day though, right? So that I sent them the day-to-day, so they'll be able to go through each day and see it. And I know from the summary of that tour that there's 12 actual safaris included in that tour. So plenty of opportunity to see the big five, as we like to say. We did have one question. You mentioned a picnic one of the days during Africa, and the question was, can you give us an example of a picnic? And my first thought when I read that is basically it would be an open air kind of meal where it would be local cuisine. Is there anything you would want to add to that description of what the picnic on that one day comprises?
So there's multiple picnics throughout the tours.
Okay.
When you are out there, and the picnic lunches are going to be hosted. It's not going to be box meals per se. It is going to be local cuisine.
Okay. Yeah, I've done obviously things similar where you go in and
but it's really a great because the the goal here is to make sure that you're seeing all of the animals, and really so we don't want to have to leave the park and go to restaurants, because we really want to give you enough time to do all of the game drives here.
You're not going to do a drive-through at the McDonald's there on the Serengeti?
Right. I do have an answer to the question. There is 12 game drives included.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I mentioned that there's 12 drives, and they're all listed in that day-to-day itinerary, and I shared that. So I'm going to try. A couple of people had issues or problems with the presentation or whatever, so I'm actually going to try getting it out today. I will need about an hour by the time that I download this and then upload it to the YouTube channel and get an email out to everyone. I will include links to the 3 tours that we talked about today. So you can actually click on it in its website, and it has the day-to-day. It has all the information, as I mentioned, single, double rates, triple rates if they're available, a ton of information, a bunch of links. So, and as I mentioned, if you got in the previous email, we actually have a web page where we have the Collette groups listed. So this is going to be our longest webinar. Anyway, we had a lot to go over.
I get excited when I talk about these tours.
Exactly. Anyway, no more questions. So as I said, be on the lookout for that, for this, a link to this presentation later today. Feel free to invite friends and family if you'd like to invite them, even though they're MOAA groups. Every MOAA group we have, somebody brings friends or family, multiple people on the larger groups like signature groups. So this is your vacation, whatever's going to be the most fun for you. Going to wrap it up real quick. Gina, thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today. I'm going to turn it over to you for the last word.
Yes, and I did put I know you're going to send out the links and such, but I did put the reference group numbers if they want in. I did put those reference numbers in there to call in about those specific tours in the chat. And I just want to say thank you so much. You guys are such a great partner, John, and we appreciate your loyalty and hope that you're able to join on some of these once in a lifetime opportunity tours. And thank you again for being a great partner, John.
Thank you very much. Everybody have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.